Central Floridians woke up this morning with the news of the person who they elected by almost 67% of the vote in 2020 is no longer the state attorney. Why? Because the dictator in Florida, Ron DeSantis, has suspended Monique Worrell from her position. Why? Well, he claims that she wasn't doing her job. She wasn't prosecuting crimes. Listen to this BS he said today.
The state of Florida is a law and order state, and that means we support the men and women who wear the uniform, who protect and serve. It means we have strong policies to hold criminals accountable for their misconduct. Prosecutors have a duty to faithfully enforce the law. One's political agenda cannot trump this solemn duty. Refusing to faithfully enforce the laws of Florida puts our communities in danger and victimizes innocent Floridians. Accordingly, I am today announcing the suspension of State Attorney Monique Worrell from the 9th Judicial Circuit, effective immediately. I'm appointing Judge Andrew Bain to take over as State Attorney for the 9th Judicial Circuit. Judge Bain is currently a judge in Orlando. He is a native Floridian. He attended University of Miami, where he played football, and he received his law degree from Florida A&M Law School. And I trust that he will be a prosecutor that faithfully enforces the law and will keep the communities of Central Florida safe. Monique Worrell's administration of criminal justice in the 9th Circuit has been clearly and fundamentally derelict so as to constitute both neglect of duty and incompetence. The policies or practices listed in our executive order suspending her that constitutes the grounds of suspension are as follows. One, a pattern or practice to avoid minimum mandatory sentences for gun crimes. Pattern or practice to avoid minimum mandatory sentences for drug trafficking offenses. Pattern or practice allowing juvenile offenders to avoid serious charges and incarceration altogether. Pattern or practice to avoid valid and applicable sentencing enhancements. Pattern or practice limiting charges for child pornography. Pattern or practice for seeking withholding of adjudication in situations not permitted under Florida law.
If you want to see someone who is arrogant and shameless, it is Ron DeSantis. He says politics not involved. Every action he has taken is directly tied to politics. Remember, he suspended Andrew Warren last year. Warren lost his case to be reinstated in June. Again, now he's claiming that, Worrell is not doing her job, even though what she was doing is what she ran on, and the voters clearly said they wanted to see that. Monique Worrell joins us right now from Orlando. Glad to have you here on Roland Unfiltered. You said in your news conference today, y'all have been waiting for this to happen.
Yeah, good evening, Roland. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back with you. And this is the day that we've been waiting for. It's the day that we've been talking about for months now.
And so he lays out, all blah, 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 blah. Oh, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. And he actually says incompetence. But the things that you were doing as the state attorney, you ran on. So it seems as if Central Floridians were fine with that because you got almost 67% of the vote. You dusted your opponent.
Yeah, the thing that I was doing is exactly the thing that I ran and was elected to do. And, it's dereliction of duties because it doesn't align with the governor's politics. So I think it's very hypocritical for him to get up there and say that politics has no place in law and order, because this is all about politics. This is all about his opportunity to restore a failed presidential campaign.
So this judge comes in, he immediately gets rid of your two lieutenants. And my understanding, he brings in as the number 2, the person you beat, or the person who came in 4th place. So a loser who the voters didn't want is now the number 2 in your office?
That is absolutely correct. It's strange how these things work. After I was elected, I met with Ryan Williams because he wanted to be my number 2. And I guess he decided that he was going to become my number 2 one way or the other, with or without me. He was going to be number 2 in that office, and he has succeeded.
And again, what this replacement has done, he's now gotten rid of diversionary programs, the different sort of tactics that you and other states' attorneys have done to minimize folks actually going to jail, because it's been costing taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars to imprison people. And so you put in practices that, frankly, are saving folks money, and individuals who, frankly, should not be in jail. You're creating different pathways to still hold them accountable.
That's right, Roland. It's not only saving taxpayers' dollars, but it's diverting people from prison who don't belong there. Prison is for people who pose a danger to our society. And the individuals who go through our diversionary programs are not going for violent offenses. And if the governor was really so concerned about community safety, why does he continue to enact laws that are contrary to public safety? We are now a state that has no restrictions for carrying firearms. So anyone can get a firearm. You don't have to get a permit. It's a permitless carry state where we've already seen an increase in gun violence in our communities. There are now more, not less guns, and there will continue to be more guns, because every time you loosen the restrictions, people buy more guns. And these are the things that are a danger to our community, not pretrial diversion.
So I'm confused. Last I checked, and I've covered city council, I've covered county government, I've covered state politics. Prosecutors have prosecutorial discretion. You don't have to do what a DA in another area does, nor do you have to do what the governor says. You get to make the independent decision as to how to prosecute cases in your area, correct?
Well, obviously that's not correct anymore under this regime of this dictator. You know, prosecutorial discretion is under attack here in the state of Florida, but throughout the nation. And this has become a really hot button for political extremists to target individuals who realize that over-incarceration, mass incarceration does not build public safety. Programs and diversionary opportunities increase public safety because they build stronger, safer communities.
What's next? Do you plan to file suit against the governor?
So I have a legal team that has been assembled, and they are looking at the executive order, and we will be meeting to discuss our next steps in that regard.
This has an economic impact. You discussed it at the news conference. You're suspended. You don't get paid.
No, so it's interesting, right? When law enforcement officers get caught in wrongful activity, they get suspended with pay while the investigation takes place. That is not the case for Andrew Warren or myself now that have been suspended. We get paid for the last day that we worked. Our medical benefits will terminate. And, you know, my family's going to have to figure that out. There is a grave economic impact, and my kids are supposed to start school tomorrow. They don't deserve this.
What do you say to the voters, and what is the community saying? Again, it's not like you won 51-49. I mean, you won with more than 2/3 of the vote.
Well, unfortunately, if you are in a blue county in this state, your vote doesn't matter. And that's exactly what the governor has shown us by the removal of Andrew Warren, by my removal, and by the removal of all the other Democrats that he has removed in his tenure as governor. Our democracy is under attack. And it doesn't matter if you agree with me or don't. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. Our democracy is under attack. And this man is running to be the next president of the United States. We have to stand together, everyone who believes in democracy, to stop that from happening.
The campaign, first of all, your term is up next year. Are you running for re-election?
I am absolutely running for re-election, and I encourage people to go to my website, MoniqueForStateAttorney.com, to find out more about me and to support my campaign for re-election.
When Tennessee Republicans did the exact same thing, removing Representatives Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, Vice President Kamala Harris came down there. There were a lot of people who were organizing. Do you want to see national Democrats put this on the radar and come down to support you, to support Warren and other Democrats who are under constant assault by dictator Ron DeSantis?
Yeah, so absolutely. And again, this isn't about Monique Worrell, right? Monique Worrell is the name that we're discussing today, but this is about democracy. This is about individuals going to the voting booth, making their votes, and then having their votes stripped away from them because other individuals put themselves in positions that allows them to remove democratically elected public officials. Our democracy is at stake, and everyone needs to be in support of holding on to democracy.
Last question I have for you. Andrew Gillum lost by 30,000 votes to Ron DeSantis. There were very low numbers in Broward County, Miami-Dade County. I keep saying to people, don't bitch and moan today about what Ron DeSantis is doing if you did not vote in 2020. The fact of the matter is, if enough folks had properly had voted, DeSantis would never be the governor, and you would not be in the situation. This is why votes, not just in your race, but the top of the ticket all the way down, is critical.
Yeah, I've been telling people elections have consequences, and we are suffering the consequences of our actions in 2020. And we need to remember that as the ballot boxes open again in 2024. And this isn't just about me. It's about what's happened at the federal level. It's about what's happening on the Supreme Court. It's about what's happening here in the state of Florida. We are suffering the consequences of our actions, and we dare not do that again.
Monique, we appreciate you joining us. Keep us abreast of what happens down there. It is shameful that you have to go through this, but this is the kind of stuff that we've seen, whether it's the attacks on CRT, the attacks on DEI, the attacks on professors. At the end of the day, what you have is you have an absolute dictator there, a person who also drew his own congressional districts, cutting in half the black representation in Florida as well. And I would say to anybody African-American and anybody else who's not African-American, if you don't like this, you cannot sit at home and be quiet.
That's right. It's time to stand, because if we don't, we're going to lose what our ancestors have fought and died for.
All right. Monique Worrell, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.